What's up YouTube? We are back with another workout session today. We haven't done one of these in a long time, so we're getting back into them now. So we're going to do a acceleration focus session today, and we're going to do some 10-meter sprints, some 20-meter sprints, and then we're going to do some broad jumps, working on that horizontal power with the broad jumps, and we're going to do some drop jumps to be nice and springy off the floor, and then we're going to finish with working up to a 1 rep max back squat. Probably not 1 rep max, we're going to do a heavy single on the back squat. So we're getting a nice, because we still want to improve our strength here or maintain our strength, but our main aim at the moment is to improve our elasticity, our sprint speed, and our overall power output. So we need to do that by doing sprints, broad jumps, normal jumps, vertical jumps, and then we still want to maintain our strength. So we still want to be lifting heavy, and that's why I'm just going to work up to a single and not do any back off sets. But yeah, we'll just get into the workout. We're just going to talk through the workout as we go along, explaining some of my thoughts on why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm working on, just so you can get an insight of my training and how I think people should train, become more athletic human beings. For acceleration work, it's important to try and stay nice and low throughout the whole, especially 10 meters. You don't want to be coming too much upright, because when you're coming upright, it's more working on top end speed sprints, and it's hard to gather speed if you're coming upright too quickly. You want to start nice and low and try and stay low for the whole 10 meters. And when you're doing like longer sprints, that's when you can kind of come more upright, when you're working on more actual full out sprinting. But for the 10-meter sprints, you don't want to be coming too much upright. You want to try and stay nice and low into it. That's what I'm trying to do with these. It does make you go faster as well for the 10-meter sprints, and for the being nice and quick acceleration, you want to be nice and low, getting that good shin angles. You don't be too high, and you're not going to be accelerating properly. You're not going to be able to transition from the acceleration phase into the max sprinting phase. Speed time so far not the greatest. We have been going faster than this recently, so quite disappointed, but we'll see. We've got 2 more at least, and then we'll go into our 20-meter sprints. Maybe that'll be better. Maybe we're not fully warmed up. We just did a normal dynamic warm up for this, just get ourselves body nice and warm. We don't need to do anything fancy, just nice dynamic warm up, some light intensity plyos, and then some build up sprints, and then straight into our sprint work, because it's my main focus. So you want to put your main focus at the start. You want to be fresh as for that. Because if you do a bunch of stuff before you do sprints, you're not going to be fresh for them, and you're going to be fatigued. You're not going to be able to sprint your maximal effort. So that's why we always do what you want to improve on the most. You always do that first in the session. I think it's important to have a way to drive that intent into your sprints. I used to before. I think a lot of people do it anyway. I used to not have the timing gates. Then it is difficult to drive that intent, because obviously I'm getting immediate feedback with the timing gates. I'm seeing if I'm going faster or not. I know exactly my times, so I know it just drives that enjoyment into it as well. So I think if you're going to take sprint training seriously, I think it's 100% worth the investment of getting speed gates. They only cost me like £100. These ones are £150, and they've been great for me. So I think it's a good investment, because it just makes your sprint training way more enjoyable. And I honestly think you get way more out of it rather than just sprinting, going into nothing and not knowing how fast you're going. There is other ways to test your speed, cheaper ways where you don't need to buy speed gates of using the camera, but it's just a little bit more difficult to set up. And I think for like £150, it's a pretty good investment, especially if you're someone who's going to take it seriously and actually wants to get faster. So yeah, we've just done our 10-meter sprints. We did 6 of them. Now we're going to go into 4 20-meter sprints. The 10-meter sprints weren't my absolute best, but it is what it is. Some days are good, some days are bad. But yeah, we're going to do some 20-meter sprints here. I think like what a lot of people get wrong when they're doing sprint sessions is they don't rest enough in between sprints, and normally turn it into a conditioning session instead of an actual speed session. So like if you want to actually work on your speed, you need to be fully rested between each sprint. Maybe not fully rested, but you need to be like well rested between each sprint. I think a lot of people will do like a 10-meter sprint or a 20-meter sprint. I think, oh, that's not tiring, so I can go again quite quickly, which is fair, because it's not tiring. It's not supposed to be tiring. It's supposed to be working on your speed. Every single sprint is supposed to be maximal effort. And because like a 10 or 20-meter sprint isn't that long, it should only take you like between 1 to 3 seconds. So it's not like that tiring on your system, but it's not the point of them. The whole point of sprinting is to get faster, unless you're doing a conditioning session. But if you're wanting to work on speed, you need to have good rest in between each sprint. So a general rule is to rest 1 minute for every 10 meters sprinted. If you're like quite an advanced athlete, you could probably take that down to like 45 seconds for every 10 meters sprinted. But if you're new to it, and even if you just want extra rest, sometimes it's just better to rest even more anyway. So I think at least 1 minute for every 10 meters sprinted is the golden rule. So if I'm doing a 20-meter sprint, which I'm doing now, I'm going to rest at least 2 minutes between each sprint. Sometimes even more than that, to give my body even more time to rest. So every sprint is absolute maximum effort. So I'm actually working on the sprint speed instead of my conditioning, because I think that's what I said. A lot of people do that wrong. They'll do like a 20-meter sprint, think it's not tiring, walk back, sprint again straight away, and then they wonder why they're not getting faster and their times are getting worse. And it's because you're not actually working on sprint speed, you're working on conditioning, which is good. I mean, people need to work on conditioning too, but if your goal is to get faster, you need to rest in between each sprint. So yeah, we're going to do 2 more of these 20-meter sprints, and then we're going to go and do some broad jumps. Okay, sprint's done with now. We're going to go into our broad jumps. These are working on that horizontal power from a standing position, which is super important, especially when you're trying to accelerate quicker. And if you play a sport, it's really important to be, especially team sports, acceleration is probably the main factor if you're going to catch an opponent or you can get past an opponent. So yeah, acceleration kind of work is important, and this is like kind of bridging the gap between sprinting and the heavy weightlifting. Because obviously, if you want to be able to accelerate quickly or be fast and explosive, you need to be strong at the same time. So obviously, that's what the heavy squats come in for, and the heavy trap bar deadlifts or heavy deadlifts. They build that force output, and then you have the sprints, which is like the other side of the spectrum, which is for maximal speed, which is developing maximal speed. And then I see jumps in the middle of that in the continuum, so it's between squat heavy lifting and the max velocity sprinting, like the acceleration we just did. I see jumps in the middle of that, being able to bridge the gap between these two activities. So that's why we're going to do these, especially we're going to do some broad jumps, then we're going to do some vertical jumping too, because we need to work on our vertical jumping is terrible compared to our horizontal stuff, like our broad jumps and our acceleration sprints. Our vertical force production is really poor, which I'm not sure why, because my squat's quite good for my body weight, but for my relative strength, but my vertical power is just terrible for some reason. So we need to work on that as well. But we'll do some broad jumps first, then do some vertical jumps, then we're going to go into some squats. We haven't proper focused on broad jumps in a while, and again, this is another thing I think people get wrong with jumping exercises. So a lot of time they'll do like 3 sets of 5 of jumping, which can work if you're being progressive with it and you're increasing that intensity each set. But a lot of times people just do 3 sets of 5 and they just do the jump in the same height for that 5, then the rest, and do the same again. And it's like they're just doing rep after rep after rep. When if you want to be, again, same as sprinting or the same as lifting heavy, if you want to be a max effort kind of jump, kind of sprint or lift, you need to be resting in between each jump. So I see these like sprinting or like heavy lifting. You need to be resting enough so that your body is recovered enough so you can produce maximal effort again. So I think when people do 3 sets of 5 of jumps, it can work if every set you're going to go higher and higher, and then when you get to your maximal effort jumps, so you could do like the 3 sets of 5 as a warm-up almost, just like gradually increasing the intensity. Then when you get to the max effort jumps, you need to be resting. I mean, there is no general guideline for this, but normally like 30 seconds to 1 minute, I would say, between each jump, and that's what I aim for, 30 seconds to 1 minute between each jump, especially when it's max effort, because as I said, you need to be well rested to produce that maximal force that you want. So yeah, we're resting between 30 seconds to 1 minute for these. We're only going to do 5 or 6 of these. We'll see how they go. If we keep getting better, we'll do 6. If they're not going that well, we'll do 5. But yeah, we're going to do at least 5 more. Again, jumping is the same as sprinting. If it's so much better to have something to drive that intent into each jump or each exercise. So for instance, like I did with that broad jumps, I had that tape measure to measure how far I'm jumping each time, so I can try and beat myself each time, and then next week I'm going to try and beat that again. I think that just drives that intent into exercise, which is the most important thing when you're doing this kind of stuff. When you're doing sprints, you're doing jumps, you need to have that intent into it, or it just becomes you're not going your max effort. Because as I said, you need to be doing max effort for these sort of things, these power kind of movements you need to be doing. And that's why having something to drive that intent is so important. That's why with vertical jumping, we're going to do using my OVR performance jump trackers. They are great. Again, they're quite expensive though, so but they're great to just track my jump, so I know exactly how high I'm jumping each time, and I can try and improve that each time in each jump. Again, you don't need something like this. You can use a hurdle or a box, and that will show if you're jumping higher as well. So you don't need anything expensive. All you need is like a tape measure for broad jumps, a box to jump high, which you get in any gym. So I just like to have this because it shows me exactly how high I'm jumping each jump, which is quite nice to see. But yeah, we're going to do probably about 5 to 6 of these as well. We only did 5 broad jumps, and we got decent distances consistent with my first time doing them for ages. So yeah, we're going to see what we can do here with these. Yeah, as I said, my vertical jumping is terrible compared to every other thing I do in the gym, to be honest. Like my actual overall relative strength is pretty good, I think. I can like 1.7 times bodyweight back squat, which is, I mean, it's not amazing, but it's like still pretty decent compared to my vertical jump. I just jumped 20 inches there, which is like a beginner standard. So I'm not sure exactly why. I'm just obviously not producing that force quick enough. That's why I'm working on my sprints and my trying to work on the jumping to be able to produce that force quicker. But yeah, maybe I should work on a little bit more velocity-based training, like lifting that light weights fast. But I'm just a big believer in that the jumping and sprinting takes care of that velocity side of it, and then the heavy lifting takes care of the force side of it. So I don't need to do the in-between part. And it works for other things, but just for my vertical jumps, it hasn't translated yet. But I think it's going to come. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And I've never been a good jumper ever anyway, so yeah, it's just something I need to work on, and I'm trying to. But yeah, it just takes a lot of time. So yeah, that's why what we're doing is trying to get even improves my. I don't know if any improvement in my max strength will help vertical jump anymore. I think my main issue is producing that force quickly. That rate of force development is pretty poor on my part, especially vertically. That's why I'm trying to do a lot more vertical jumping, and even top end speed sprints. Some have some crossover because obviously you're still a little bit vertical when you're sprinting. Not complete crossover, but I think if you can sprint fast in the top end speed sprint, you're going to be able to. It's going to increase your max approach jump anyway. But yeah, being able to produce force quickly from a standing position, I think getting good squats, maybe working on lifting light weights fast. I haven't proper gone through a phase of that yet. Might be the next thing I do, but right now I'm just trying to improve my squat strength, maybe even up to like 1.8 to 1.9 times body weight, and then I'm going to try and just vertically jump more. Okay, we're on to our squats now. We're in the gym, so we're working up to our heavy single. We've done 2 warm-up sets already. This is our third one, 110 kilo. Aiming today is to hit a good 150, see how fast it goes up. If it goes super fast, we might hit a 160 single, but we'll see. Our best ever is 170, which I've only done twice, which I was proud of, but today we're not aiming for a max effort single. Today we want a nice snappy single, so it's not about always working up to a heavy max and absolute killing it. We just want a nice snappy one today, so it's going to be less than our absolute overall. So if I hit a 150, feels good. We might go for 160, but I'm not really caring about that, to be honest. We're going to do 110 here for 3 reps. Again, even for these reps, we want these to be nice and explosive as fast as possible. So this is like kind of getting a little bit of velocity-based training in the warm-ups. For the sets, I quite like doing it that way rather than working up to heavy single and then going back off set. Sometimes I like to do, it just means that the warm-up sets are actually useful in a way, because it's not just for warming up. I'm using the warm-up sets to improve my velocity-based training, improve my rate of force development. So I think that's a hack kind of, because then it's like you're not working anymore. Like I'm still doing the same amount of sets as I would in the warm-up, but I'm just going to make them more snappy. I might add in 1 extra set at this weight, just to get extra reps in, but it's still like the warm up to my heavy single. Then once I've done my heavy single, that's me done. I can go out. But yeah, again, we want to try and make these all snappy, no grinders today, all just quick. That's why I don't know if I'll go for 160 yet. 150 for sure, because I know I can do that pretty comfortably quite quick. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we're going to do at least 1 set of these. We might do 2 sets of these and then go on to a 130 single and then go up to 150. But yeah, I'll show you how to do them. I'm going to do We always wear knee sleeves now. It's actually helped a lot with my confidence under the bar, especially when I'm going for heavy singles. And we're also going to do belt up because, again, people think these are cheating, these kind of tools, but they're just tools to make the exercise easier, which is better for you. It means you're going to get stronger and you're going to be more explosive because you're actually working on it the way it should be, rather than just like a lot of time when you don't wear a belt, my back gets sore. You're opening up the opportunity to get more injuries, so it's just overall safer way, and you're still getting, and you can lift heavier, so it's like just a good thing to do. Now this is quite a lightweight for me, so I don't need to use a belt for it, but I just feel more comfortable with it, and especially because now I'm trying to get max output with these, so I'm trying to go as fast as I can. It does help my confidence under the bar. I think I can brace a little bit more, because I think a lot of people say, oh, you don't like, use this to work on your core like squats, but I don't use squats to improve my core strength. I do actual core work to improve my core strength. I don't think squats is going to. They might have a little bit of crossover because obviously you're lifting heavy with under load, lifting heavy load on your core as well, on your spine. But at the same time, I'd rather just work on core work, isolation wise, and then use this to work on my max output and my lower body strength. So we're going to rest about 2 minutes in between these. So this is still the warm-up sets. I know it seems a bit silly, but I think this is a good way to, as I said, just get some quick velocity-based training in without it taking up any more of my time, really. Because if I worked up to heavy single, I'd have to do these warm-up sets anyway, and then I would go my heavy single, then come back and do velocity-based training, especially because I just think these heavy singles are so important for maintaining your neural output, just maintaining your strength. Like, it's not even about building the strength, it's just about being able to be strong under the bar at heavy loads, which is something that a lot of people aren't good at, because I think you can do all the back off sets as you want, like 3 sets of 5 as you want, but if you want to push your max strength, I think it's important to work up to these heavy singles, and it's helped my max strength so much. My max strength has gone through the roof doing this. I do this for my lower body and upper body, and it's been crazy the help it's done for me. So yeah, so I'm trying to sneak in a little bit of velocity based training in the warm up. It doesn't take up more of my time in general. So yeah, we're going to do one more set of this, 130 and then 150. Okay, we're going to do 130 here. Hopefully it moves fast. Only single here, just fast as hell. Didn't feel too bad, felt pretty comfortable, which it should. It's quite light for me, so yeah, we're going to whap on 150, and then we will see how that feels too. Okay, here we go, 150. Hopefully this moves fast. The only thing is, like, it would be good to have some sort of device to show me how fast I'm going, because then again, as I said, in power kind of exercise, it's good to drive that intent into your sessions, but I don't have that, so I just need to go off feel. If it's feeling fast, then I know, like, week by week if I'm feeling faster or not. And that's the whole aim of velocity-based training. You don't really increase the weight too much. You're more about trying to get as fast as you possibly can on the weight and trying to improve that speed. Then you can increase the weight a little bit. But yeah, so we're just kind of going off feel here. I'm expecting this to move pretty good because all the other sets have felt really good, so we'll see. Did not feel super fast, but still felt like a good rep. It did not feel as fast as I was hoping, but yeah, it is what it is. It still felt pretty good. It's good to get work at that heavy single kind of weight. We're not going to go up to 160. I don't think it'll move that well, so we're going to stick with that right now. Happy with it, but yeah, that is the end of the session. So it's more of a, today is more of a acceleration focused, trying to produce force fast from like a standing position. If you look at the acceleration sprints we did, 10, 20 meters, again, you're trying to produce force quickly from a standing position. Same with the broad jumps, same with the standing jumps, and then same with the squats. Obviously, you got a little bit of recoil when you're coming down, pushing up. But again, the whole point of it is to produce force fast and as explosively as possible. And so we've done like all ends of the spectrum today. We did speed for the sprints, did some power work in between that, between the heavy lifting and the sprints with the jumps. Then we did some heavy lifting, which is the other ends of the spectrum, but obviously trying to move it as fast as humanly possible, as fast as I possibly can. But yeah, so overall, pretty decent session. These sessions are more like for outputs. There's not a lot of like other kind of work like tempo runs or like minimal plyometry. We did some light plyos in the warm up, but didn't do like any medium intense plyos because like we want to keep this day as an output day. Then tomorrow we're going to do some upper body, and then Wednesday's going to be a different kind of day. It's going to be max approach jumps and top end speed sprints with some hopping, some medium intense hopping too. But yeah, so this is a new kind of split we're doing. We're trying to focus on our athletic qualities with the sprints and jumps. Then we have like some strength work as well. Friday is our main strength day. We're going to work up the heavy single, and we're going to try and go for PBs, or if we feel like a PB is there, we're going to go for it. But that's a day we're really going to push. So yeah, thank you for watching again. I hope you learned something new today, and we'll see you next time.